What path might you take in your quest for total health?
Optimum health that encompasses mind, body, and spirit.
So join us now as we head to the frontiers of integrative health and well-being.
On Healing Quest.
Hello, and thanks for joining us.
The topic of childhood's in our show today in a couple of interesting ways.
Well, in one report, we'll get some new recommendations about raising healthy children in a way that blends modern science with ancient wisdom.
In another segment, we'll get some intriguing advice about how to keep in touch with the child inside all of us and why we should do so.
So join us now
On a journey to better health.
right here on Healing Quest.
Broadcast of this program made possible by
So True, makers of So True Choco Slim, a sugar-free chocolate extract designed to control hunger cravings and help manage weight. So True Choco Slim, proud to support Healing Quest on public television.
Krilla for Menopause is a 100% natural product clinically shown to benefit uterine health and help reduce menopausal symptoms, including hot flashes and night sweats. You can learn more at krillahealth.com/HQ or at 855-274-5248.
The American Botanical Council provides science-based herbal information at herbalgram.org.
Vital Choice Seafood, wild-caught seafood and whole food supplements rich in omega-3s. More information about our wild seafood and our sustainable practices is available at www.vitalchoice.com or at 800-608-4825.
You know those TV shows that use those scary headlines to get your attention?
Ooh, I think we've all seen those.
Well, our first story today has one of those headlines, and unfortunately, it is not exaggerated. Because it deals with something that's likely to touch every one of us in the years ahead, either directly or indirectly.
But the good news is that help is on the way, and I say that as someone with a very personal interest in this topic.
Bone health has been a concern of mine for well over a decade. I was long ago diagnosed with osteopenia, low bone density, and I was worried about it progressing to a more serious condition known as osteoporosis. I was especially concerned after a fall in which I broke my shoulder, and the results from a recent DEXA scan were not good.
The reality is you do already have the diagnosis of full-blown osteoporosis. You've got the real thing. So your low bone density right now probably it does represent the fact that you've had a fracture and your body has taken minerals and protein from the rest of your bones to heal that fracture. It needed that. That was an emergency. It had to borrow it from somewhere. So you really need to work hard, and the next year is the best time to do it. What you need to do is be sure you have an exercise program that includes impact and strengthening. And then you need to eat healthy, which you're already doing, and you need a supplement.
Dr. Charles Price has had his own personal experience with this topic. He's a distinguished orthopedic surgeon and bone health researcher. His mother developed osteoporosis from a fracture, then suffered a broken hip, which led, unfortunately, 8 months later to her death. His wife was then diagnosed with osteopenia. A powerful pharmaceutical drug was prescribed for her, but Dr. Price and his wife wanted to pursue a more natural healing path.
At the time, I was doing some research with silicone in bone graft materials. It came out of France, and it was making a tremendous difference for bone healing. So that led me on the path to silicone.
Dr. Price says strong, healthy bones require both protein and calcium, and silicon is important for both. Calcium is what makes bones hard. Specific bone proteins provide support, structure, and flexibility. Bone health experts say our modern food supply doesn't deliver the calcium and bone nutrient proteins we need.
In reality, more than half of Americans are not getting multiple nutrients that they need. And the reason is a healthy diet would consist of 7 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, 4 servings of whole grain, and 3 servings of a dairy product. That's very hard to get. So that's why supplements help augment that.
Dr. Price says the right kind of silicon is needed to attract calcium to the bone and strengthen the protein in bone along with hair, skin, and nails.
I realized that there was not a supplement that was doing what we wanted to do.
So in collaboration with his colleagues at the Institute for Better Bone Health, he created one.
The Silical system has magnesium, calcium, and vitamin D, which are basic for bone hardness. But it's also got silicon and boron and vitamin K2 and a couple of other ingredients that are found in normal foods that are important for the bone protein that the calcium and magnesium hook onto. You can't form bone without silicon.
Dr. Price says a daily supplement is important to supporting bone health.
Bone loss begins at age 30, and it's a downward trip from then. It accelerates in women after age 50, and men are about 5 years behind. But it's a lifelong problem that you have to begin at a very young age to work on your bone health.
At the same time, Dr. Price says it is possible to improve bone health at any age.
It's never too late to start your bone health program.
Dr. Price says weight-bearing exercise is a key ingredient in a bone health program. Fitness expert Wendy Pett says that doesn't have to mean long hours at the gym.
You've got to do weight-bearing exercise, but a lot of people don't like to go to the gym, and I actually encourage people that you don't need weights whatsoever because your mind is that powerful that you can create the weight in your hand by actually visualizing it, and then go ahead and lift as if you were lifting a weight, but you get the same benefits except for you don't put the wear and tear on your joints, tendons, and ligaments. So this is weight-bearing exercise without a weight being in your hand. It's still going to build muscle, shed fat, and it's going to be bone building. It's going to...
Wendy calls her program Visibly Fit.
With Visibly Fit, I have 7 core foundational exercises that I encourage people to do every day, twice a day. And I call it 7 by 11. So these 7 exercises, do them before 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. It's your schedule. Just figure it out and get them in. And so if you did those 7 alone, it would be very beneficial for bone health and also to build strong muscles and shed fat in the process too.
Wendy's client, Sue Matheson Price, has been active all her life and is a big fan of Wendy's exercise program. In addition, Sue's diet is rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Despite that, she's had her own bone health challenge.
I have always exercised. I eat right, and I still got osteopenia.
Sue says she's added a silicone supplement to her daily regimen, and tests show that her bones are now much improved. Carolyn Chase has never had any problems with osteoporosis, so she's focused on maintaining that good health.
After the age of 50, a woman's risk of dying from a hip fracture is equal to her risk of dying from breast cancer. There are so many broken hips, and 25% of women die after a hip fracture. So what we have here are 2 wishbones, and one has had the calcium removed chemically, so it's protein. It's the collagen. It's the same collagen that's in your hair, skin, and nails, and you need some flexibility in that collagen. The other one is basically a dried one where the protein is no longer effective. It's just the calcium. In healthy bone, you need both. You need the protein and the calcium. The Silical system provides for both. And let me show you what happens if you've only got one. In this one is the one without the calcium, and you can see that it's wiggly and wobbly.
Goodness.
Now, this other one has the not very good protein. It's all calcium. Calcium and vitamin D supplements only give you this. And too much calcium actually increases the risk of fracture because your bones can be brittle like a dried out bone that doesn't have good protein structure. Are you ready?
I'd like to make a wish. Can we use
Well,
this little wish?
I want you to make a wish.
Okay,
And
I
so
bet
we're
you
gonna-
can guess
we're
what I'm
u-
going to wish for.
We're going to use the one with calcium but no protein because that's the one that'll break.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So you now make your wish before you go.
Mm.
Okay.
Oh. Okay.
You want to know what I wished?
What?
I wish that your bone health would improve.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
And you know what? This is just really a good reminder to me that I have to really start taking care of my bones.
Yes, please do.
I will.
Okay.
And here, as a reminder of that promise you made, is the little piece of wishbone you ended up with.
Thank you. You kept it?
I did.
Well, I'm going to use this as a reminder. Of course, diet and exercise is really important, and now a bone health supplement. That's my plan for dealing with this scary headline that we started this story with.
Well, bone health is a very big issue these days.
In fact, Dr. Price told me they're starting to see teenagers with low bone density because of poor nutrition and the lack of weight-bearing exercise.
And this is by no means only an issue for girls and women, either young or old. Men who have a hip fracture are more likely to die after that than women who have the same injury.
And I was stunned to hear Dr. Price say that after 50, a woman's risk of dying from a hip fracture is equal to her risk of dying from breast cancer. Wow.
If you'd like more information about this topic, Dr. Price and the Institute for Better Bone Health,
we have the links for you on the Healing Quest website.
a new baby and child care book is out.
And it aims to give parents the best of both modern science and ancient wisdom.
So we've been taking a look at it.
It's called the Nourishing Traditions Book of Baby and Child Care. Its authors are Sally Fallon Morell, founder of the Weston A. Price Foundation, and Dr. Thomas Cowan, who practices holistic family medicine in San Francisco.
It seemed to me that there is no book out there that really gives a comprehensive, holistic view of so many of the issues that happen and affect children even before they're born, such as what parents should eat, what the mother should eat, what kind of spacing should happen, whether to get ultrasounds, how much monitoring to have during pregnancy.
The book emphasizes a nutrient-dense diet, as documented in the pioneering work of Dr. Weston A. Price among pre-industrialized societies.
Uniformly across all the healthy indigenous traditional people studied, they had a very specific preconception diet for both the mother and the father, which is remarkably uniform across cultures, particularly what I would call adequate protein, high fat-soluble vitamins, high in minerals from particularly vegetables and fruit. That's the traditional diet in a nutshell. They use special foods, salmon roe if they could get it, certain eggs, liver, etc., to feed preconception mothers or fathers, mothers and fathers, and continued with that the entire duration of the pregnancy.
Healthy fats are the foundation of the diet he recommends for adults as well as children. It's a diet that avoids processed foods.
A lot of times patients will ask me after they hear me speak or in the office appointment, they say, "So Dr. Cowan, so you mean I should read labels?" And I always say no, because if it has a label, don't eat it. Use traditional fats, which are basically procured or rendered from animals like beef fat or lard or butter or traditionally made ghee.
The Nourishing Traditions book also draws on the philosophy of Rudolf Steiner and his emphasis on the need for imaginative play for children.
Fundamentally, an adult doesn't know how to play. They, as we've been schooled, which is different than educated, and worked and worried and lived our lives, we forget that skill of how to play with our imagination, just to be there. And that is literally what makes a child grow and be healthy. To a young child, they live in a world of imagination which adults can't hardly even fathom.
And when it comes to video games and electronic toys of all kinds, Cowan has some strong opinions.
So the question is, what do I think about electronic stuff? So my answer is I hate it, and I would never have anything to do with, any child have anything to do with anything whatever, or computers, until they're bugging me so much that somehow they decide to go out and make their own money and buy their own whatever. If they can figure out how to do that, then fine.
Cowan believes that Americans of all ages face major health problems, and that accessing the wisdom of traditional societies is essential.
I have come to the conclusion that there have been better, healthier, more productive, happier, saner ways of living than we are now. These people were not vegan, they did not eat GMO foods, they did not watch television or use e-books or whatever, computers. People believe that we can solve this mess we're in with technology. And I don't think so. I think we need to solve it with wisdom.
More information about the Nourishing Traditions book of baby and child care is available at healingquest.tv.
In last week's show, we met author and nutritional therapy practitioner Margaret Floyd.
She showed us how to use fermenting or culturing our foods to preserve them and enhance their value.
She also showed us how easy it is to make whey. And today we're going to see how to use that to make a basic traditional sauerkraut.
Let me tell you, when Margaret got done with it, cabbage never tasted so good.
So here we have our cabbage all nicely chopped up in a bowl. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add some of our inoculant, some of this culture starter, the whey. And I like to add some caraway seeds. That's another digestive aid. And then we're going to add a little bit of sea salt. And now our job is to pound the sauerkraut. And this is great to do if you've got some stuff to work out. And what we're doing and what we're looking for is for the juices from the cabbage. We want to release those juices. Because when you have the whey and then you have the juices, that's actually starting the breakdown process. And it's giving those good little bacteria better opportunity to go in and do their thing. You want to keep doing this until you can see liquid. So once we've got our cabbage, you can see there it's nice and moist now. Almost looks like coleslaw, but we haven't really added anything to it. So all we're going to do now is we're going to take our trusty mason jar and we're going to fill it with this cabbage. And as we go, we're going to stop along the way and we're going to press it down. So you see it's nice and loose in there. We don't want any of those air bubbles. We're going to do this all the way to fill up the jar. You can also, if you don't have one of these fancy juice pounder things or pusher downer things, not actually sure what they're called, you can just use a spoon. You're going to fill it all the way up nicely, just so you know it's nice and compressed. And you're going to make sure that you leave an inch between the top of the kraut and the top of the jar so that it has room to grow, because it will. And then you're going to leave this out anywhere from 3 to 5 days. If your kitchen is really hot and it's the summer, 3 days is fine. If it is the winter and your kitchen's a little cooler, maybe leave it for 5 days. You can always just open it up and have a sniff. It smells like sauerkraut when it's ready. Mm-hmm. And so, this is the first time I've opened it. So, yeah, it smells really yummy. I like to put a nice big cabbage leaf at the top to kind of seal it, but that's, that's personal preference. In terms of what you can do with this, because you might be thinking, well, this is great, and now I've got sauerkraut in my fridge and I have no idea what to do with it. Well, I use this in everything. I mean, I have it with my eggs in the morning, a little spoonful of it. You can throw it into a salad, you can throw it into a wrap, you can throw it into soups. Although I would throw it into the soup after it's off the stove when you're serving it, as opposed to cooking it in the soup, because of course this is living probiotics in here, so we don't want to kill them. And it's going to help you digest anything that you eat with it. It's great for barbecue because that yummy charcoal that tastes so good but is totally carcinogenic. Eating it with this actually neutralizes the negative impact. So if you're going to have your barbecue, have some of this with it, and it goes perfectly with it. I don't think it's any accident that you have the bratwurst and kraut. We understand now the science behind it, but traditionally we've been doing this for years. Well, have a little bite of this sauerkraut. See what you think.
Now I got to tell you honestly, with a name like Walkenhorst, you'd think I'd be a big sauerkraut guy, and it was definitely a part of my family growing up. But I just kind of never really developed a taste for it. So we'll see about this. This is going to be.
It's a little different.
Oh, yeah, this is not like any sauerkraut I've ever had. No. The thing is, for some reason, the sauerkraut, I remember the sauerkraut not liking because it kind of tasted vinegary.
Yeah, well, there's no vinegar in this.
So that's the difference.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm sold.
So you can see having that with maybe a steak
Oh,
or
gosh,
when
yeah.
you're at the
That's
barbecue.
a great side dish.
You bet. And it's got all sorts of digestive benefits too. And it helps you digest anything you eat with it. Mm-hmm. Very, very healing for your whole digestive tract.
Margaret gave me a tip that I wanted to share with my favorite cook. That'd be you. She said every month she sets aside a few hours to make her fermented foods, and then she has them for several months so she can use them in every meal her family eats.
That's a great idea. And if you'd like more information on Margaret, her books, or the Nourishing Traditions cookbook that she mentioned, we have the links at healingquest.tv.
After our segment on sleep a few weeks ago, we received lots of questions about how to calm the mind at night.
So in today's Vitality Challenge, Dr. Pedram Shojay shares with us a practice called Ritual of the Moon as a way to clear the head before going to sleep at night.
Imagine your mind as a computer. When you wake up in the morning, you start to open windows. Okay, these are thoughts that are starting to pop up. I gotta do this, I gotta do that, where did I leave my keys? And so some you close and many of these remain open. And by the time you're done with your day, many of these windows that have remained open are what pop up in your mind when you're trying to sleep. Okay, so the ritual of the moon entails going through and mentally shutting down these windows one by one until your mental desktop, if you will, is clean and you could shut down for the night. Some people like to visualize actually double clicking on each thought or task as they come up. And others are better taking up a notebook and writing their to-do list out and then doing it mentally and being able to shut down for the night. You need to play with this and see what works better for you, but the principle remains the same. Now, not only does this teach us how to relax better at night, but it shows us how much unresolved stuff we carry around all day. The ideal is to become better at finishing tasks as they come along and clearing them from our minds as we go. So the more efficient we become during the day, the less we carry into the evening and into our sleep. This week's Vitality Challenge is to practice the ritual of the moon and see if you can sleep better every night. It may take a couple nights to figure this out, so be patient with it. Sweet dreams.
Interesting observation from Pedram about focusing on finishing tasks during the day.
Right, the more things we complete during the day, the less we carry into the evening and into our sleep.
If you'd like details on our Vitality Challenge, we have the link for you at healingquest.tv. Pedram isn't the only one thinking about sweet dreams.
Our Michelle Bernhardt has been thinking about the importance of our dreams, especially during childhood.
And that's the topic of Michelle's Inner World segment today.
As we grow older, if we are not careful, we can lose our way to what is special and meaningful in our lives, especially in regard to our purpose in life. It is our childhood dreams that have a way of pointing us in the right direction. Just as children in a storybook may need to leave a trail of breadcrumbs to find their way back home, we too need a way to retrieve the dynamic parts of ourselves. Try to remember back when you were a child. What books and movies did you love or enjoy? What were the titles and the storyline? Which character did you relate to? What talent or talents did they have? Look at their strengths and their predicaments. Take some time and contemplate the story, character, and subject matter, and notice the similarities between their life and your own. Many times they offer clues to hidden aspects of ourselves and our soul's purpose. Now, if you can't remember that far back, then try to remember your last favorite book or movie, or remember what you loved to do as a child. There's a reason that we remember these books and movies. They speak to us. They remind us of who we are and what we love. As soon as we begin this process of exploration, the healing automatically begins. Our path reappears, and we begin to remember.
Sounds like it's really important for us to take time to remember.
Yes, it's critical that our inner and outer worlds align for us to be healthy and happy.
You know, something else that keeps us happy and healthy is our connection to nature.
So sit back, relax, and join us now for a healing moment. That's our Healing Quest for now.
Thank you for joining us.
We look forward to seeing you next week.
Right here
on Healing Quest.
Broadcast of this program made possible by
So True, makers of So True Choco Slim, a sugar-free chocolate extract designed to control hunger cravings and help manage weight. So True Choco Slim, proud to support Healing Quest on public television.
Krilla for Menopause is a 100% natural product clinically shown to benefit uterine health and help reduce menopausal symptoms, including hot flashes and night sweats. You can learn more at krillahealth.com/HQ or at 855-274-5248.
The American Botanical Council provides science-based herbal information at herbalgram.org.
Vital Choice Seafood, wild-caught seafood and whole food supplements rich in omega-3s. More information about our wild seafood and our sustainable practices is available at www.vitalchoice.com or at 800-608-4825.
For more information about today's show, please visit our website at www.healingquest.tv. To order a DVD of this episode of Healing Quest, call 877-544-4827 or write the address on your screen.